Hello, welcome to an all-new Marvel Cast, Explosion Network's hub of all things Marvel, a place to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers and Defenders to Crimson Widow and Pale Little Spider. My name's Ashley Hobley, the Explosion Network's resident Lucky Pizza host. Joining me today, Ultimate Curing Merchant.
Damn. You got to be a Lucky Pizza host? That's some bullshit. I'll be the Explosion Network's resident LARPer, I suppose.
Yep. They were in this much more than I was expecting. Also joining us, the astonishing Dylan Blight.
I too own some Christmas sweaters that I never get to wear because Christmas is in summer in Australia.
I mean, yes, it is bullshit. Why do they should make more ugly Christmas tees? Yeah.
Christmas singlets. Christmas blueies.
Alright, and today's all-new Marvel Cast, we're talking about the latest episode of Hawkeye, episode 4, Partners, am I right? Directed by Bert and Bertie, written by Heather Quinn and Erin Cancino. Secrets are revealed and half-truths emerge, culminating in a battle against two opposing forces. Dylan.
Just quickly, was that the title or did you add that part at the end?
What? Partners, am I right?
Yeah,
that's the title.
Okay.
Dylan, what did you think of this week's episode of Hawkeye?
Another really good episode. This, well, I wasn't here to talk about last week's, but between this and last week's episodes, I'm like just having one episode to watch. I'm like, this is bullshit. They go so fast. Where's the next one? You know, because initially we got those 1, 2, bang, bang, and then it's like 3, it's over and done. 4, it's over and done. I'm like, fuck, there's only 2 episodes left. I'm really enjoying this show. It's all coming to a close. Damn it. But I really like it. Like, the only thing that's sort of annoying me at this point is the whole, like, I guess they're doing it for people who don't know, and I guess if you're listening to this, like, spoil. I don't know. It's not really spoil it. It's like they keep dodging around saying Fisk. It's like, you know, the guy she works for. You know, like, yeah, the big guy she works for. You know, like, they're playing. So
you're pretty confident that it's going to be Kingpin?
Oh, yeah, it's Kingpin. Whether or not they reveal who's playing Kingpin in MCU in the show, I don't know. But it is 100%.
Well, I think, obviously this week we got revealed, well, Kevin Feige came out and said if they do Daredevil, it's going to be Charlie Cox.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly, is that a misdirect, you know? Is that, obviously there's all the rumours of him obviously being in Far From Home, so, No Way Home. For a long time.
Look, if at the end of this they reveal Vincent D'Onofrio, is that how you say his name? Yeah. If they reveal he's Wilson Fisk, and even if they're like the Netflix shows aren't canon, and we're just sort of we're using the same actors, but we're just going again, I'll be like, let's fucking go. I don't care. But that's the only on this episode. That's the only thing that's sort of annoying me is just and I know they're doing it for people who aren't aware that that's who they may be talking about. But as someone who is aware, it's just like sort of like just you can say Fisk, just say like it just seems weird dialogue. You know, like, would Hawkeye in that moment not just say, you know, Kingpin would be pissed or like this? Instead, it seems written for the audience to purposely play around. Yeah. It just seems like weird dialogue.
Unless it's not, in which case we'll all feel stupid.
Yeah. Otherwise, really enjoyed it. Lots of real fun. Had that great moment, the Christmas party, heartfelt sort of moment with Kate and Clint. That was probably the best scene in the episode. If I had to pick my favorite scene, it was just the apartment scene. Pizza Dog has Christmas ears on at one point. Reindeer ears on at one point. That's awesome.
Pizza Dog constantly stealing the scenes.
Yeah, love it.
Ciaran, what do you think of this week's episode?
Overall, it was a good episode. I think the only thing I thought was maybe this episode, at least for the first 2/3, I thought was a little bit of a slower episode in terms of kind of things that were going on. Like, I don't know, there was just a general more lackadaisical pace, which I thought was a bit odd considering there is some form of kind of constraint and time frame around Hawkeye needing to get back home to his family for Christmas, yet he's kind of a bit more chilled and doesn't seem to be rushing with everything through the early parts of it.
Ciaran is an old man. He needs to rest. He needs to ice up his joints. That's fair.
But no, it did lead to the great the Christmas party scene with Kate and Clint, which I really did enjoy. Yes, it was interesting to see the LARPers once again involved, which brought another added of kind of awkward comedy into it, which I think Hailee Steinfeld does so well throughout the show anyway, but having them as the added layer The moment with the Clint and the policewoman Lapa, being like the awkward kind of standoff for the bag, just being like, "Oh, you didn't bring a bag. This is an important
Couldn't
bag
you just,
to me."
like, take the trick arrows out of the bag? You don't have
I
another...
was a little confused because he had a
Don't you have, like, a
backpack on,
quiver?
so- Yeah.
Kate's got, like, a quiver. You can just shove them all in there, right?
Yep. But I think this episode was just building up for the last third, kind of building up to, of course, the Florence Pugh reveal and kind of having this as a link back around to Black Widow. I think it was interesting. I wasn't sure if she was going to turn up in this series or if that was going to be a thread for another movie. But it's really good to see her involved. I think that just even further complicates what's going on. I'm guessing that the reason that kind of she's involved is to do with Kate's mother. So I think there's a lot of interestingness going on with Jack and Kate's mother.
Ooh.
And
That's an interesting thread.
yeah,
Because who does she call?
I think she calls what's the lady's name?
Yes, you assume she calls Contessa. What's her
Yes,
face?
Countessa. There we go. That's the one. I'm presuming she's contacted them, and that's where the extra scene or the ending of Black Widow kind of loops back around into this. I'm interested to see if we see more of the characters involved with that going forward, or if it's just her. I think there's a lot going on here. It's very interesting. There's only 2 more episodes now to wrap everything up and get this all sorted. So yeah, no, it felt really good. I'm excited. I think there was a part of this that was almost felt like a bit of this episode was waiting around for the end, rather than having like a constant kind of flowing of motion for the narrative of this one.
Yeah, I really liked the episode as well. I don't have as much. I think it was more of a character building episode than,
Yes,
which we've had in the last couple of series as well. Obviously, a bit of a slower pace, delve into the characters. But clearly, you liked it a bit more than the other iterations of it. But yeah, we obviously, Kate figures out that Hawkeye was Ronan, and Hawkeye kind of opens up a bit more, but then we also get that awesome fight at the end. Well, it was a pretty good fight. Yeah, we get the payoff. It was funny because I was thinking maybe halfway through the episode,
it was Sam Fisher.
Well, no, yeah,
Sam
it's crazy that Sam Fisher showed up in this before the next Splinter Cell game.
No, this is announcing the new Splinter Cell universe where it's Samantha Fisher and it's a female protagonist now with a reboot.
I'm on board. But no, I was definitely thinking, isn't Florence Pugh meant to be in this series? Is she just going to show up in the last episode at the end, beat up Hawkeye and walk away? But no, there she shows up. I assume you all guessed it was her. As soon as you saw some random assassin, show up, some unrelated person, I really, really good. I think it was interesting, the follow-up from last week's episode, where you thought maybe it was going to be a bit more of a dramatic cliffhanger with, a sword to Clint's face. Quickly resolved, I guess, kind of, with this fun bantering scene of Hailee, Steinfeld, Kate trying to explain why she's hanging out with an Avenger. I really enjoyed all that interaction.
Well, Jack was I believe he would have just he knew who Clint was, and he was just pulling the sword. Because then, as soon as Vera Farmiga walks in, who's the mum, I don't remember her actual name. As soon as she walks in, he's like, oh, he sort of plays a bit more coy or whatever. So again, it's just this whole. You can see in the scene him sort of turning the bad guy on off sort of thing that's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then obviously we get the banter, and then Kate's mom asks him to leave her alone. He can't. He needs to keep her safe, but he needs her help. Whatever. I enjoyed the banter. I think this was the best scene with Jack to explain why. Kate's mom likes him.
Well, I don't know. Like, is there some secret meaning to him being unable to get all these sayings correct? Or
I think it's just an English thing. It does.
Okay.
It seems like English isn't his first language. You know what I mean? But yeah.
It's bad guy.
Well, yeah, of course, he's a bad guy. But yeah, it seemed like Kate was like kind of warming up to him as well. And then you get the bombshell that he's the CEO of the front for the tracksuit mafia. So he's definitely a bad guy. Her hunch was right.
So there's just lots of confusing stuff here, though, because Tracksuit Mafia is like a spin-off and like working for Fisk, obviously. But then Jack is the CEO of a company that's laundering them. So is Jack working for Fisk? Is he like trying to take over Fisk's territory? Like, I think there's some like interesting setup of the smaller villains of this that we haven't actually got in the MCU, New York villains that we haven't had in the MCU that we've had inside the Netflix series, which I guess they're sort of like setting the ground for that now because they can start touching on all those sorts of villains properly and those sorts of characters. But yeah, it just makes you wonder, like, who is anyone working for someone? Is someone trying to take over from someone else? Like, what the go is there?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we get the Christmas party. After Vera says, who wants to be alone on Christmas? It all fun and games until including apparently Hawkeye can knock somebody out with a quarter. Times too light to knock somebody out with.
Waiting to see that come back in a later episode.
Yeah, practicing. And then it ends on a downer note with him remembering Kate figuring out he's Ronin, and then him kind of remembering, his interactions with Natasha. Okay. Him believing, he can't come back. He's done all these terrible things, but Natasha always said she had red no ledger and she was trying to clean it up, but no, there's always coming back. Am I right?
He says, "I'm a weapon. I was just pointed in the right direction."
Yeah, he gets super gruff towards the end of this episode. Then the next day, obviously, they go their separate ways. Kate meeting up with the LARPers again. That's a lot of fun. I can't believe they're just in Central Park, like, practicing their I don't know.
Look, they were doing
macemanship. Swordsmanship, I guess.
Did you just say macemanship?
Yeah. That's what it looked like.
So somebody's ability with a particular weapon is described as weapon plus ship at the end of the sentence, right?
Yeah.
Like,
your daggermanship?
Their daggermanship, their
archerymanship, yeah.
The javelinmanship?
Let me know.
Their pointy stick ship.
Yeah.
Broad shipmanship.
Shipmanship.
Ship. Is that your skill of controlling ships? Is ship?
No, it's your ability to partner two people together and want them to stay together.
Kind of shipping.
That kind of ship. Right. Meanwhile, Clint goes and checks out what's his face, Kazi, telling him to maybe he needs to tell Maya to leave him alone. That was a good scene. Found all his weapons. There was no.
Importantly, he does agree that she's going to get herself killed continuing on this path. So,
yeah, I think he's an interesting presence. He's an interesting character. We've seen little of him, but definitely stands out amongst the tracksuit mafia people. And of course, Clint throws his gun away, which he was not happy about. We get back to their hideout, Kate's house, and all the LARPers there. They're like, Kate's trying on dresses, and now she's commissioned them to make her and Clint outfits, which I assume is going to come back potentially in the series finale.
And I was about to say, series finale, they're presented with costumes or something, I guess.
Yep. It's Christmas presents. Although I don't know how she's meant to get this material that they need, and how... That seems very unlikely that they'd be able to make two costumes in, like, a couple of days, right? It's like 3 days
Hey,
before Christmas.
If they're all working on it, man,
It's
you
like-
know,
If their costumemanship's very good, then
I mean, all you cosplayers out there, let me know if that's
all
it's
you
very likely.
cosplayer ships,
all you cosplayer shippers, yeah.
Yep.
And then they figure out they need to recover this watch. Here's a question: whose watch is it?
I think it's something to do with Clint, and I think it actually leads back to Clint's farm. I think it has a way of like taking the person to where Clint's family is.
That could be, yeah, maybe. It's like, obviously they knew it was a hideout or whatever. Like, Hawkeye took them there in the Age of Ultron, right?
Yeah, correct.
I don't know if it's anything to do with Ronan though.
I think it is. Just because of his reaction, and not only his reaction, but his wife knowing about it.
Yeah. And then also,
I just don't
from
know
that,
because he says to Kate, he says it's to do with someone. Like, he's very coy about it, even after he's revealed that he's actually Ronan. So why wouldn't he just say it leads them back to my place because it's to do with Ronan?
Because
that just seems a weird sort of not just being very secretive when the secret's out.
Because
now.
the writers want you to believe there is some kind of something bigger about this watch, about it. It's gonna, lead to a nuclear bomb or something. Like it's. I don't know. There's just seems to be. They want you to believe there's a lot more play with the watch than it being a little bit more closer to home for Hawkeye, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Or it could lead to another character, which, seems like it would be an odd choice, because unless it's somebody we actually know.
He said it reveals someone's identity. Clint's identity isn't a secret.
Listen, what if the watch takes us to everybody's favorite agent, Agent Coulson? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are true. This reveals the location of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything.
Ash. Just stop.
Listen, we're bringing everybody from the TV shows back into the fold.
No, that's one that's never going to get involved. Never. If Coulson ever comes back, there is, no obvious mention of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Coulson has been back. Captain Marvel.
But that wasn't back. That was...
He's been back in the fold of the MC movies.
Yeah, but that was prior to his death. As far as anybody in the MCU knows, he's fucking dead. And he's never reared his head.
Listen, let me have my
since.
crazy theories.
No, I'm not letting this one go, because it would mean that Marvel has thrown away one of its great storylines if they involve it, because then they can't rehash it in the MCU and make it better. Which I hope they do. And in theory, they should, because of Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel coming up.
Yeah. Well, maybe whoever it is sets up a potential season 2. So I assume there's going to be a season. Do we feel like there'll be a season 2? This doesn't seem miniseries type.
I think this leads into Kate being part of a Young Avengers or something. Or there being something about with, Kate moving away from Hawkeye. I don't think there's another Hawkeye series. I think this is very much a Clint/Jeremy Renner passing on the torch a little bit. He's still around in the MCU to do stuff, but he doesn't need to be a...
I think he's going to move into a more Nick Fury role.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be a major player anymore. He can just be himself.
So they break into Maya's apartment, with, after Clint tells her to shimmy up the side with a grappling hook. She just helps somebody with the groceries inside, and then she proceeds to weird this guy out so much that he leaves her alone in the elevator. She walks in, set off these silent alarms, apparently. Figures out, founds the watch, finds, these notes of all about Clint's family, and then proceeds to get beaten up. Meanwhile, Clint is also getting beaten up by Sam Fisher, on the rooftop. Fights ensue. Kate gets knocked off the edge at one point, and gets, the same similar thing, of being like connected. You know, it's kind of the opposite of Natasha, with her telling her to let her up, and then he lets her go, falling into some crystalline lights. But she quickly proceeds to walk back up to the top of the building. So not very effective.
Yeah, that was a really weird decision.
A really weird beat. Yeah,
like they didn't even.
I think it would. I think sure for him, it felt very final. It's like
for him, it felt
go
very
away.
final. My big thing was they didn't give it any beats to breathe, or they didn't really give it any moments of just Hawkeye.
There should have been like another minute of fighting between Hawkeye and the other two.
Yes,
and then she comes up. Yeah,
like I had looked away for some reason during this moment, and then looked back as she was shooting the flash arrow, like the flashbang or whatever you want to call it, the pulsar arrow, and I was like, wow, okay, I did not expect her to be right back up and involved within like 30 seconds, within not even 30 seconds, like 20 seconds of getting let go down there. It's just a little bit, I don't know, just kind of weird and takes away from it a lot.
Yeah. So Maya pisses off. Yelena gets unmasked. She doesn't say anything. You know, she's about to shoot. She jumps off the building. You know, and then you know, Clint does the homeward dog or whatever. I don't know. You know, the thing where you tell the dog to go away. Leave.
Can I ask why did she leave? Like, why did she jump off the building at that point? Isn't her job to kill Hawkeye?
Yeah, but she's not going to die for it.
Because clearly
she had like a clean shot.
Yeah, but also at the same time, clearly there's something in her mission about Kate, because she's very specifically saved Kate.
Yeah. That's a good point. Which further gives the idea that her mother is behind everything.
That's why I had this crazy idea about halfway through that fight scene, and I was like, is this Kate's mum? And like, and then I was like, no, that's not it. Let's not go to too much of the crazy theories.
See, I keep waiting for us to come back to Kate's dad and there's be some like secret shit going on there or something.
Maybe. But yeah, you know, Clint says, you know, he's going to do the rest of it on his own. So yeah, I'm sure that's going to stick next episode, am I right?
Possibly. You'd think. You'd hope. I don't know. I'm really interested to see about the pacing and what actually happens next episode. Because I guess the Marvel penultimate episodes have generally been really good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, they've been, you know, it does feel a little like a lot of the other series we've had so far, where like everybody kind of goes their separate ways, and then during the penultimate episode, they come back together, or bounce back from whatever happened in the third to last episode, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of questions still to be answered in these next two episodes. And, you know, I'm still very excited and keen. So yeah.
Like, where did Pizza Dog come from?
Yeah. How did she get the Rolex?
I thought the
dog ate it, yeah. Who's the person on the end of the Rolex? What's going to happen with Yelena? What, you know, is Clint going to get home for Christmas?
I was just Googling, like, weird storylines they could do, and they could have it be whatever Hawkeye's wife. What's his actual wife name? I don't remember. No? I know.
Laura or Lauren? Laura or Lauren?
Oh, no,
it's one of the LAU.
What if it's hers? Connects to her.
What, she's got a secret S.H.I.E.L.D. background or something?
Yeah, I was just Googling weird stories and they could take for her. And they make out that she's Mockingbird in the MCU.
That could be interesting.
That's her backstory.
I mean,
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't count, Ash.
I mean, they had Adrian Paunovic as Mockingbird. That's pretty big. Reasonably big actress. For scale. I don't know. She could be the first Mockingbird, though. You know, and then
then they could do another one.
Yeah.
I'm just pulling this out of my ass. So.
That'd be that would explain why she's got the names of the family and that kind of thing, maybe, or yeah, it's kind of interesting theory. Yeah. What are you guys still hoping for the next 2 episodes?
I just don't want to see another. I don't want to see to another fight scene between Florence and everyone. What the fuck's that character's name?
Yelena,
sorry.
Yelena.
Yelena. I just kind of want. I want to hurry up and get to the like.
She's
I didn't
friends.
kill her. Blah 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 blah. Like where she's on the good side. Like
I want her to talk, please. That's the best thing about her.
There's going to be... I'm going to guess that there's going to be a fight scene while they talk during the fight scene. And then something's going to separate Clint and her. And then Clint's going to be like, I didn't do it! And then they make up. And then
Well, she's doing a job. That's the thing.
Yeah, but the thing is also, I presume by the end of this series, they're going to have Maya turn good as well. So... Or, like, at least not full... Like, maybe neutral... Like, not full bad guy, because she's getting her own series. So
yeah, that's an interesting thing as well.
They're doing a series for her, so you're not going to do an entire series about her being like a full bad guy. You can do it as a anti-hero, but... Yeah.
That's an interesting thought as well. Like, who's going to be involved?
Remember? Because
are they setting up Kingpin for that?
Potentially.
Obviously, Cosby's got to be in that. Yeah, so we see a bit more of him and that kind of stuff. Lots of interesting questions to go. Let us know what you're excited for from the last 2 episodes and what you thought of this episode. Partners, am I right? By going to partners, am I right? Yeah, not partners. Just not even friends. Just 2 people, same goals. Yeah, let us know by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump to Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at All New Marvelcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser or tell people about the show. And if you like this episode, thought it was worth it all, head on over to a Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Be sure to watch next week's episode of Hawkeye and join us next time for another All New Marvelcast.